I remember my initiation into the workforce was my mum told me to, I had to write up my resume and my cover letter and all that stuff. And I had to go and physically introduce myself to Hungry Jack's or wherever I was going and say, hey, I'm Maddie, I'm looking for a job. Here's my, you had to show initiative. You couldn't just flick them an email or, send them a text or, apply on the website and then never rock up. Like I would always go in. And it was funny, before I got the job here at Carpentry Australia, I actually walked into the previous workplace and told them that I had a history in electronics, and I sort of worked as a returns coordinator for a technology company. And they had a vacancy, and it was only because I was, putting my best foot, physically present. They were like, oh yeah, we actually are looking at the moment. And then I had an interview and so you're right, I think good things can happen if you actually put yourself out there.
Yeah, and that's it. And look, I know it's hard. I know, and having young boys now, the world's completely different. Even with The Apprentice, the world's completely different. Music on a radio, asking him if he knew who Madonna was, and he's like, who? And it's like, rightio.
It's like, now we're old.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's what it comes down to. So, yeah, look, he's a great kid. There is a little bit of disconnect, obviously, in age and that sort of stuff. But that's part of the learning too. Like, we're learning about how he sees the world. He's learning about how we see the world. So, again, like you're saying, when you got your first job, when I got my apprenticeship, I did whatever I was told to do.
Yep.
I was there on time, I made sure I had my uniform was nice and clean. And you did anything your boss told you to do. Probably some things you probably wouldn't do these days because of OH&S and a bit more concern around your own welfare and safety. But you did what you had to do because a job was, and especially a trade job, was valuable.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to let your boss down, you didn't want to let your family down, you didn't want to let yourself down.
Well, you're learning as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the main thing that some people, forget. Something I do hear from other builders is that, there's a bit of that mentality with some apprentices that they've got that sort of level of importance, and there's I'm trying to think of the word, but they just sort of want, and they're not really giving
back
as much as possible. But when you're an apprentice, you are a trainee, and you're being paid to learn.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Which is amazing. Like, it's unreal that you could, because people learn and they usually pay to learn things. That's what university is. It's the opposite. You're actually learning on the job, and you're getting a paycheck at the end of the week, and you're coming away with more skills.
Yep.
So I think it's a good reminder. Do you have any other sort of advice for young chippies, young tradies?
Ask questions. Yeah. Ask questions. I know you'll probably drive your boss absolutely nuts, but the only way to learn is to ask.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone learns differently. So we all, most of us know that now. School's not going to define who you are. So whether you finish year 12 or not, I know if there's parents watching, I know I've got two young boys and I'm pushing them as far as I can along the line of school and learning, but it's not going to define who they become as people.
No.
How they're defined as people is how much they learn on their own by themselves. So we've all got textbooks. I've still got my textbooks from when I did my apprenticeship, and I showed the boys, and they're like, "That's." I was blowing dust off, showing them there it is.
Cobwebs.
You can have a look, you know, or but some people don't learn in books. Some people learn by looking. Some people learn by doing.
Yeah.
So, but ask questions. Don't ever be embarrassed to ask what's happening or what's doing, because if you don't ask the question, you're not going to learn. And that embarrassment's only going to get bigger for you down the track. Yeah. If you've got a boss and you ask him a question and he growls at you for asking a question, might not be the right boss.
Yeah.
So, ask questions, work hard, turn up on time, and bring a good attitude.